Good morning once again. Welcome to our subject, capital market. So we are now on the stock valuation. Since we discussed last time the interest, simple interest, and then the present value, wherein we discover the value of money changes, okay, through the years, diba? So the value of the money changes, kumbaga on the positive side, wherein it earns, diba, by engaging in different investments. And then there's a situation wherein the value of money depreciate. Okay, it is based on its purchasing power, 'di ba? Kung naalala niyo yung example natin dati, 'di ba? Kumbaga, if we're going to compare certain commodities, if we're going to purchase it, so it is different on the quantity of how many items can you buy now compared with previous years, 'di ba? So ibig sabihin, your purchasing power depreciates, or your purchasing power declines. Okay? And then sorry. And then on the other side naman, so your sorry, your money earns, okay, by means of investments. If we're going to engage in time deposit, if we're going to engage in other aspects na mag-generate ng income. So that is why we came up with the computation of the I is equals to PRT, wherein in every situation, so there is a corresponding interest, and then you'll get the interest amount on top of the principal value. All right? So nagkakaroon ng changes yung value ng pera. Now, what we will have here is the stock valuation. So we will discover the different stocks that we have, the common stock, the preferred stock, diba? And then the stock market. All right? So if we're going to define what common stock is, for this one, you're going to identify the basic characteristics and features of common stock, and we're going to use the discounted cash flow model to value common shares. All right? And then for the comparables approach to valuing the common stock, use the price to earnings, okay, ratio to value the common stock. So dito may computation ulit tayo. Medyo, yun nga, konti lang din kumpara dun sa last time natin na IPRT. Pero like what I have mentioned last time, so it is a must for us to learn, okay, the basics, okay, para at least, since we are all business majors, so we have the idea, and then kahit gumraduate na kayo, hindi tayo naluloko sa pera. Kaya nga tayo nag-BA. Kailangan magaling tayo mahawak ng pera, or kumbaga business-minded, or anything that has something to do with income-generating factor. All right? And then preferred stock, we're going to identify the basic characteristics and features of preferred stock and value preferred shares. And then the stock market. Okay? Use the secondary market for common stock. Common stock as the owners of the firm. So when we say stockholders kasi, they are the one who owns the firm. Common stock, normally for this one, stockholders, they are electing board of directors, okay? And then they're going to appoint the top management team. All right? It is part of a corporation, di ba? In every organization, there are three forms of business organizations. We have the sole proprietorship, we have the partnership, and we have the corporation. Now, for sole proprietorship, so they don't engage in these kinds of stocks, diba? Kumbaga, you have your own business, you deal with it, you sell, and then you earn profit, and then that's it. Now, one of the disadvantage for that is, madali kang pag halimbawa nag-bankrupt ka, automatic pwede siya magsara. Now, for partnership naman, ito naman yung syempre may kasama ka, and then you have this division. Depende sa inyo kung gaano kalaki yung division ninyo for income, for giving capitalization, and so on. Alright? For corporation naman, so multiple members in an organization, okay? And then the company itself has its own identity. Okay? At yung mga owners doon ang tawag ay stockholders. Alright? And then for the claim on assets, in case of liquidation, common stockholders have residual claim on assets. So, kumbaga, si stockholders, it depends on the number of stocks they contributed to the company. Kasi when we say in a corporation, halimbawa 10 o lahat tayo sa isang buong klase, we are all part in a corporation. So, hindi tayo kumbaga equally divided ang capitalization. So, may mga iba na malaki yung capital nila in the form of stocks, 'di ba? Halimbawa, from the class. Okay. So, halimbawa si Georgette, 'di ba? 50% yung kanya. Okay? And then yung isa naka 10%, isa naka 30, 40, and so hanggang sa mabuo yung 100%. So ibig sabihin si Georgette, so since 50% siya, so siya yung kumbaga nasa ruling and then one of the board of directors. So mas marami yung decision making na manggagaling sa kanya kasi mas malaki yung percentage niya. All right? And then for claiming on assets, however, if bankrupt firms rarely have enough assets to satisfy the claims of bondholders. Okay? So, usually, walang masyadong assets for tawag nito, yung company. Bakit? Kasi nga, own siya ng mga board of directors, so mga na-stockholders. Okay? Kasi when we say yung mga assets ng not unlike the sole proprietorship and then the partnership. So Diva, they have this equipment, machineries and equipment. They have this mga tools, mga furnitures and fixtures that can be converted into cash. Okay, highly liquid. So something like that. So it's different, this different perspective for corporation or for the stockholders. Now, for the claim on income, so common stockholders have the right to the firm's income that remains after bondholders and preferred stockholders have been paid. So later on, we will discuss ano bang meron kay bondholders at saka kay preferred stockholders kasi it is completely different from common stockholders. Basta wag niyo kakalimutan when we say common stockholders, they are the owners. Okay? So they are the owners. Kumbaga, they can vote. They can kumbaga parang they elect, 'di ba, na kung sino yung magiging board of directors. Okay? Pero syempre, makikita niyo yung difference ng common and then the preferred stockholders. Alright? Kasi si common stock, pwede silang bumoto. Pero pwede naman dumating sa point si preferred, okay? Si preferred yung iboboto niyo. Iboboto niyo na common stock. Basta pag sinabing common stock, you are part of the company. Isa pang example for common stockholders, yung mga companies na meron tayo ngayon, we have PLDT, we have other companies na they're encouraging other people or subscribers to be their owners as well. So, for example, si PLDT, since you are a subscriber, you are also the owner of the company as well. Kaya lang, napakaliit ng percentage mo. And you're earning dividends as well. So you might ask your parents if you have your PLDT. I think it depends on kumbaga parang sa subscription. So they have this yearly annual kumbaga parang meeting about the assets or how the standing of the company. So most of the subscribers, they have these dividends. Hindi naman ganun kalalaki, kumbaga they have 400, they have 300 pesos, 'di ba? So kumbaga you are part of the company already. You can vote who will be the next board of directors. Now, it is completely different with the preferred stockholders. Okay, so mamaya madidiscover natin. And then, common stockholders either receive cash payments in the form of dividends or the firm's management reinvest the earnings in the firm. So this is what I have mentioned a while ago. So if you are the common stockholder, you receive payments. You receive cash payments. Okay, from what you have invested. So like for example in PLDT, you have invested by subscribing to their services that they're offering. Now in return, you're going to earn from what you have invested. Diba? So makaka-receive ka ng cash payment pero not that big amount ha. Kumbaga, that is a form of kumbaga part of what you have earned. Okay? For continuously being part of their service or being part of their company. And the right to residual income means that the potential return is unlimited. So as long as you're part of the company, as long as you are the stockholder and you are the subscriber, so you earn from that. Okay? So, kumbaga, one of the essential characteristic of being a common stockholder is you have the right to vote. You have the voice to who you wanted to be the board of directors. Pero of course, you will not be part of the board of directors. Yun nga lang, you have the power to vote. Okay? Kung sinong gusto mo, sino yung bet mo, parang ganon. And then, it could also mean that there could be a little or nothing left after claims of bondholders and preferred shareholders are met. So this is completely different. For example, they wanted to close the company now. And then, obviously, all the income, all the assets of the company has will be divided to the bondholders and the preferred shareholders. So, kanina, an example natin si Georgette, so 50% of the stocks meron siya. So, might as well, she will be the board of director. Kumbaga siya yung head, diba? Or the managing director. Now, after claiming what is hers, 'di ba? Pwedeng konti na lang matira doon sa prop or sa asset ng company. Pwedeng wala nang matira doon sa mga common stockholders. All right? So, makikita natin yung difference ng mga 'yan for common and preferred. Okay? Nakakasunod po ba tayo? You have the voting rights. Okay? So in general, the common shareholders are the only security holders given the right to vote. So this is like what I have mentioned a while ago. If you are a common shareholder or common stockholder, you have the full right to vote. Who will be the next batch of board of directors? So like what I have mentioned also, di ba sa isang company, hindi naman wala mang board of directors. So sila yung mga big bosses. Di ba? So sila yung mga, kumbaga para mga managing director na head ng every department. For example, since you are the board of directors, so you have the kumbaga the control, the power, you can decide, di ba? On depende rin yun sa mga number of shares na meron ka. And kumbaga, lahat ng mga managers, okay, na nasa ilalim mo as part ng organization structure, susunod sa'yo. Right? And then common shareholders have the right to elect the board of directors and approve any changes in the corporate charter. Okay? So ganun ka-powerful ang isang common shareholder na you can vote and at the same time, you can elect, you can choose, the power to choose who will be the board of directors, or who will manage, who will spearhead the organization. Okay? Pero syempre, yun nga lang, one of the disadvantages that pag halimbawa nag-close and normally hindi naman masyadong wala namang masyadong ano ba tawag word doon? Hindi madalas nagsasara isang corporation. All right? Walang masyadong income for common shareholders, unlike the preferred and then the bondholders, something like that. And then, some firms have multiple classes of stock with different voting rights. So it's more on how the company or how the organization modifies the classes of stocks they have. Pero, syempre, makikita mo yung power of being a common shareholder. Okay, so we have here an example. Si Google's Class A stock has 1 vote per share and Class B stock has 10 votes per share. So they are divided based on its class. So ibig sabihin, si Class A, meron siyang boto depende sa number of shares na meron siya. Okay? Si Class B naman, pwede naman na for every share, ang equivalent nun ay 10 votes. So this policy is being modified by the organization or by the board of directors. So, kina-classify nila yung mga stockholders nila, yung mga common shareholders nila. Pero, it's the, kumbaga, arrangement of the company itself. So, hindi yan, kumbaga, nasusulat sa, kumbaga, yung mga corporation law. Diba? So, kumbaga, it's the arrangement of the company. Okay? Next po. Most shareholders vote by proxy. Okay, so meron silang representative. A proxy gives a designated party the temporary power of attorney to vote for the signee at the corporation's annual meeting. So kamukha nung sinabi ko sa inyo kanina, si PLDT. So yung mga subscribers nila, they're also their own shareholders. Okay, mga common stockholders din nila yon. Okay, na at the end of the year, every time they have this annual meeting, these stockholders or common stockholders receive dividends. Right? And then they're inviting all of their subscribers or yung mga kumbaga yung mga account holders nila na attend the annual meeting and vote for the next board of directors. Now, normally for the shareholders, since they cannot attend kumbaga parang physically, so they can vote by proxy. So normally a proxy gives a designated party to a temporary power of attorney, okay, to vote. So meron tayo lagi na special power of attorney para may mag-represent on your behalf. And there are two commonly used procedures for voting: majority voting and cumulative voting. Okay? So majority, so almost kumbaga ilang percentage na yung nakakuha ng vote for this particular board of director, and cumulative, so you keep on counting on who will be the next set of board of directors. Okay, for majority voting, so each share of stock allows the shareholder one vote, and each position on the board is voted on separately. Right? Because each member of the board is elected by a simple majority. A majority of shares has the power to elect the entire board of directors. So, kumbaga, one vote for each stockholder or each shareholder. Now, for cumulative, it is different. So, each share of stock allows the shareholders a number of votes equal to the number of directors being elected. So, it is also similar with like what we have example. So, yung kay Google, di ba? So, they have the class A. Ito yun, balikan lang natin. Ito yun, di ba? They have the class A and then the class B. So, it's more on the majority and then the cumulative voting. So, they are being classified based on, kumbaga, the powers of each shareholders. Okay, nakakasunod po?
Yes po, ma'am.
Alright, thank you for responding. Okay. So agency cost, in theory, the common stockholders elect the board and effectively control the firm through their representatives on the board. Okay. And in reality, stockholders are given a slate of nominees for the board selected by the management. So as a result, management effectively elects the board, and thus the board may have more allegiance to the managers than to the shareholders. Okay? So normally this may lead to agency problems kasi for stockholders, yun nalalaman lang natin according to theory. Okay? So they are the one who is electing the board of directors effectively in controlling the firm. Pero what happened in reality is that si stockholders, pinibigyan na sila na sino yung mga nominees natin. Okay? Na pinili na ng management. Kumbaga, it has been controlled by the management already. So not unlike in the theory that the usual, what we are learning is that we can choose who among the kumbaga the board of directors are the best one who will rule the organization. So what is happening, the usual thing or in reality, so si management na of the corporation is the one who is providing the list of the people who will like to vote. Okay, so kumbaga parang prepared na sila na ito na yon. They are controlling it already. Okay, pero still hindi pa rin nawawala yung opportunity for common stockholders to vote. Yun nga lang, yung mga i-vote nila based on the management's choice. Alright? So pagpipilian nyo na lang yun. And then managers are employees of the firm but may put their interests ahead of the firm's stockholders or its owners. Right? So the costs associated with manager-stockholder agency problems are difficult to quantify, but it could be significant. Okay, so it's more on the issue between the manager, syempre the one who is managing the organization against the owner. So normally the owners, they are the stockholders. Alright? So kumbaga may mga alya-alyansa tayo. I don't know, siguro may mga medyo kumbaga parang medyo familiar na kayo kasi minsan nakikita natin sa mga drama yan, 'di ba? Sa mga napapanood natin sa TV na kunwari they're into a boardroom or conference room tapos may mga parang kampi-kampihan sila and then they will choose their own board of directors. So I forgot the drama behind that pero minsan nakakita ko ng mga ganong eksena sa mga napapanood nating soap operas. Alright? And then valuing common stock using the discounted dividend model. So like bonds or the common stock's value is equal to the present value of all future cash flows that the stockholder expect to receive from owning the shares of stock. Okay? And then, unlike bonds, the future cash flows in the form of dividends are not fixed. Thus, the value of common stock is derived from discounting expected dividend. So, kumbaga later on with this module, we're going to learn how to compute for the stocks and how to compute with the bonds. Kasi we have different bonds. We have the treasury bonds, diba? And then for the stocks, so how are we going to compute for that? How are we going to earn from that? Okay. We have three procedures for valuing the common stock. You have to estimate the amount and timing of future cash flows the common stock is expected to provide. So you have to evaluate the risk of the dividends and determine the rate of return an investor might expect to receive from a comparable risk investment, which becomes the investor's required rate of return. So for example, you're going to engage in stocks, diba? How many stocks are you going to give in? For example, I'm going to purchase 100 stocks with a par value of 100 per each. Alright? So, kung 100 times 100, magkano ngayon yung magiging stocks mo? And then, from that, magkano ngayon yung magiging rate of return mo? Okay? So, magkano rin yung magiging interest from that stocks na ininvest mo? So, from 100 times 100, that is 10,000. And then, you have the rate of return of this much. Okay? So, nako-compute natin or nakakalculate natin yung present value and the expected dividends, okay, by discounting them back to the present at the investor's required rate of return. Pero don't worry, siguro after the prelim, we will kumbaga parang compute or we will kumbaga learn how to compute for this one. So how much will be the par value if given the situation and this will be the interest, how much will be the required rate of return? All right. Yun yung mga basic things that we need to learn from stocks. Okay. Alright, ito pa pala, sorry. Yan. So this one, we have the basic concept of the stock valuation. We have here an example. Consider a situation in which we are valuing a share of common stock that we plan to hold for only 1 year. Okay? So for 1 year lang siya, ha? And then you're going to engage in the stock. So what will be the value of the stock today if it pays a dividend of 2, okay, and expected to have a price of 75 at the investor's required rate of return is 12. Okay? So how are we going to compute for that? Ayan. Okay. So we have the present value of future cash flows, the present value of dividend plus expected selling. Okay. So we have this formula. Oops. From this one, from this problem, we are looking for the value of the stock today, present, ha, kapag nagbayad tayo ng dividend ng 2 or $2. Okay? And we are expecting na ang presyo niya ay 75. At magkano yung return niya? 12% yung return niya. So kung kukumpitin natin, magkano na yung magiging stock ko ngayon? Ngayong panahon na to. Alright? Kung binayaran ako ng 2, o palagay na 2 piso ang binayad sa akin. Okay? Tapos ang presyo niya, kumbaga, ang in-expect mo ng presyo ay 75. Magkano yung magiging value ng stock mo? Alright? So, makikita natin dyan, from the present value of the future cash flows, okay? So, ang present value natin ay 2 piso. Okay? Tapos 75, so that is the expected price. Okay? And then you have to divide it with the present value multiplied by the dividend plus expected selling price. Okay? So, I believe medyo ano pa kayo dyan, medyo kumbaga parang lutang na paano nag-come up ng ganitong value. Don't worry, after the prelim, kasi kumbaga medyo nag-advance tayo on the computation kasi upon checking dun sa ating prelim, not yet covered yung ating computation for this one. So I think what is the coverage of the prelim is more on the previous topics plus the simple interest. Yung napag-discussan natin last time na I is equals to PRT and then the present value or the future value. Okay. So for the preferred stock, claims on assets and income, in the event of bankruptcy, preferred stockholders have priority over common stock. So, babalikan natin kanina si common stockholder. So, they are the one who has the right to vote, who will be the new set of board of directors. Pero syempre, it is being controlled by the management already. Okay? Pero still, you can choose who among the prospects, okay, the next board of directors. Ngayon, si preferred stock, sila naman yung may priority when it comes to receiving an income, receiving profit. Okay? So sabi natin kanina for the claims and assets, so priority lagi si bondholders, preferred stockholders kaysa kay common stock. So kung ano yung matitira doon, kung may matira man, kay common stockholder na yon. So sila yung last. Alright? And then preferred stockholders, firm must pay dividends on preferred stock prior to paying dividend on common stock. So they are the priority in getting the income or getting the dividends against kay common stockholders. So most preferred stock carry a cumulative feature. Cumulative feature requires that all past and paid dividends must be paid before any common stock dividends can be declared. Okay? Preferred stocks are less risky than common stocks but more risky than bonds. So later on naman, okay, or sa mga susunod na mga topics natin, we will discuss ano naman ang meron kay bonds. Okay? So next slide natin. Okay. Preferred stock as a hybrid security. Like common stocks, preferred stocks do not have a fixed maturity date. Also, like common stocks, non-payment of dividend does not lead to bankruptcy of the firm. Like debt, preferred stocks have a fixed dividend. Also, almost preferred stocks are periodically retired. Okay. Even though there is no stated maturity date. Okay. So, kumbaga, the bottom line here, basically, for preferred, from the word itself, para mas lalo mas maintindihan nyo, preferred stock, kayo yung mas preferred, kayo yung mas, kumbaga, nagli-lead, kayo yung mas yung priority, unlike for common. Diba? Preferred and the common stock. So for common, so oh yes, you have the right to vote. Okay? You can choose who will be the board of directors. So you are the, kumbaga, the voice, kumbaga, of the people who are involved in that organization. So, kayo yung parang tao na po pwedeng mamili who will be the right one to kumbaga parang the right one to have this kind of setup. Okay? Preferred naman, since you are the priority, one of the priorities, kasi hindi pa naman natin na-discuss yung bonds. So sa preferred naman, nandun yung preferred ka in all aspects. For example, for bankruptcy, o kasama ka sa mga makaka-claim agad. Okay? And then, you have more power and at the same time, so pwedeng mas malaki nga lang yung stocks na po pwede mong i-contribute. Alright? Pero when it comes to claiming on assets and pag nag-file ng bankruptcy ang isang organization or corporation, so kasama ka sa mga makikinabang. Alright? So medyo nasa last part naman si common stock. Okay? Kasi although you have the right to vote, pero still, when it comes to claiming, okay, nasa last part kayo. Least priority kayo. Kasi uunahin muna lahat ng mga preferred stockholders. Okay? So, madi-discover natin sa mga susunod na mga topics natin na bakit kaya mas priority si preferred. So, siguro mas malaki yung stocks, 'di ba? Mas malaki yung required na mga number of stocks na kailangan nilang i-share kumpara kay common stockholder. Okay? Kaya mas malaki yung kanilang profit. Okay? Nakasunod po ba?